next to me. Come sit down next to me, Zouhair.
All right, sir. Okay.
Right.
My coffee is here. Do I need to take notes?
No, you have
have
no
like
notes. We have So you're sure you're in the picture? You want to move a little closer just to make sure?
Yes. No. I am in the picture. Yes.
You made sure of that.
Yes.
Well, I'm sitting here with Zouhair, who I've known for a while. In fact, when did I first meet you?
Are you asking me about this life, right?
In this life, I mean, we might have met each other when we were both worms or something like that, or
Probably,
maybe higher, maybe an elephant or something like that.
So in this life, we met back in 2016 or 17 when you were here in Marrakech, and that was right around my beginning as a storyteller.
Your birth as a storyteller.
Yes.
You were a mere chrysalis before that.
Yeah.
Before you turned into a butterfly, and there was quite an important man we met, wasn't it? Well,
yeah.
You introduced me to. There's a Cafe Clock.
Yes.
Which was where the first sort of part of the resuscitation of Marrakech storytelling was happening. And one of the masters took it there. Who was that?
He was Haj Ahmed Zarghani, may peace be upon his soul, because he died in 2022. Right, so it's back then. I mean, it was not much around like revival or resuscitation. It was just like a good program, a good storytelling program happening in Marrakech. So but it all started from there.
Yeah, because Haj had got fed up with the noise on the square, hadn't he? And the monkeys on chains and stuff, and so he decided to teach it to a whole new generation.
Yes, actually, that was his
vision.
That was his vision. I mean, it's and luckily he had the right choice, because he chose university students and he chose students from the English department. And that was the beginning of all the people in Cafe Clock. They were all like English major students. This is what gave the birth to a new generation of English-speaking and the Darija-speaking storytellers in Marrakech.
And without any idea of what was going on, I walked into the middle of that.
Yeah.
And told the story at Cafe Clock, and then sat in a corner with Haj, two white-haired men, swapping stories. I told Haj a Duncan Williamson story, and he told me a story about King of the Ants. And there was a young man, quite bearded at that point, with a baseball cap, I think, and a bigger beard than you've got now. And he was translating Darija to English and vice versa, and that was Zouhair. And so that's when we first met, and then you decided to start a school, was it a school of storytelling? Really,
it is a school of storytelling, but that's way further down the line of the story.
Yeah. Well, we didn't
know it's like that's. Those moments were like the establishment for something like big for storytelling, especially in Morocco.
And so, but we didn't see each other for a few years.
Yeah.
Well, we maybe did, but just and two things were happening simultaneously. Moving forward to this, Mike Wood and Lucy wanted to start the Storytelling Cafe, and you will take a few years gap, but you were developing as a storyteller. Tell me about your development.
Yeah, so back in 2019, this is where Haj got sick and no longer could perform. And that year, both Haj and I and another storyteller, Mohammed Kusham, so they were first in Germany, and then a week afterwards, I went to Germany to study. And this is where, like, I said, okay, maybe that's gonna be it for storytelling. So I'm in Germany right now. Probably I'll work here, and so I had like at least 2 years program in Europe between work and studies. So I thought that was it for storytelling, but reflecting back on what was happening, it was only building me, building a better or a more relevant storyteller than I was before. So loads of experiences that showed me how important storytelling is, and also that I wouldn't call it a gap, but that distance from the Moroccan storytelling community and the Moroccan storytelling ecosystem. There was no real ecosystem back then, but that distance could really show me that, yeah, storytelling, this is what I want to do.
So you now, whose inspiration was it? The school.
So the school actually started way before the festival. So the idea of the school started with Almunia Association, started with a couple of معلمs and loads of students, a lot actually. We were about 30. It was really good. I really loved it. I really enjoyed the experience. But the management of the school, that was the inspiration actually. It was not managed in the best way possible. And this is where I realized something. Why so many people over years in Marrakech, in Morocco, have tried to do some storytelling projects, but could not do them. They were good at project management, but none of them was a storyteller.
Uh-huh.
Luckily, I was a storyteller and I had a background in project management. And this is where like ideas started coming together and being shaped. And actually, I still believe, I mean, not because it's like me involved, but in storytelling or art in general, you have to have an artist to like lead or pave the way for the movement.
True. So, well, as artists, we would obviously agree with that.
Yes, yeah.
So, and then we're a little bit further down the line, and it's just getting established. Your project is getting established when the pestilence, the COVID happened, and you thought it was all. No.
Actually, so the school, the initial idea of the school started after the beginning of COVID.
Right. So
COVID was okay. You can ask me again about COVID if you like.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking that you when COVID hit, you told me before that you thought it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
And then this is where our paths cross again.
Indeed. Yeah.
Because we started online.
Yeah.
The worldstorytellingcafe.com, etc. And I'm sitting in my little flat with just a computer, and we linked up. We did it through Mike Richardson, wasn't it, of Cafe Clock?
Yes.
So we got the Cafe Clock tellers.
Yeah. But if I remember well, at a certain point, not even the Cafe Clock tellers. I mean, not all of them were involved. At a certain point, I was the only one involved from Marrakech, if I remember well.
Now there was a few. There might have been some from Fez.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So not counted.
I know there was about 4 tellers came on.
Yeah.
But you were the one that held on.
Yes.
And so that brought us through to when the pestilence finished, and we decided to have a festival.
Yes. So those were 2 years of confusion because I was back to Morocco. And actually, it's a funny little story about me in storytelling, because in March 2022, I came back to Morocco from Bulgaria. I was in Bulgaria back then, and I came here just to say like a farewell to my mom, to my dad, because it's been 2 years I haven't been to Morocco, and I was traveling to China. Can you believe it? And then it happened, COVID, the lockdown, the crazy stuff reached Morocco, and yeah, so I thought that okay, storytelling is definitely over because there is no way it can survive this hit, especially regarding the fact that Hajj is sick. There is no one to lead the program in Cafe Clock, so that was an outlet for storytelling, and the storytellers will really, really go hungry in Marrakech because storytelling is their only means of income. I'm talking about the masters. But really, through that storytelling program, I've seen loads of stuff. Not only through, I mean, most of what I've realized is within World Storytelling Cafe community, the fact that it could support many people around the world, many storytellers. It could like held or hold a community together of storytellers all around the world. That was like that was a miracle, to be honest. But the most important thing is that it could keep me within the craft, and also it encouraged me to record more stories and put them in an old Instagram page. It was rubbish, to be honest. I mean, there was no good real concept, just some stories. But that could show me that even my friends, the young people my age, could really relate to the stories, like them, and they would always I would like tell 10 minutes of a story, and then I would stop at a plot twist, like 1001 Night Style, and then I stop and they post the next morning, and then my friends would call me. So what happened? How did the princess get through that challenge? And that showed me that yes, there is
And
potential.
that goes right back to the original story, because
Yeah.
that's how Shahrazad kept her head by never telling the end.
True.
And so,
and then like when it was all over, we wanted to go back. Cafe Clock wasn't a thing. In 21, I guess it was still closed, but we like there was some like what we were trying to get the community again back in Marrakech, and this is where we met Mr. Zouhair Khaznaoui in Almunia Association, and that brought us back into the initial form of the school. Back then, it was not the one running it.
So yeah, I remember I came to watch that.
Yes.
Because then the borders opened once. They opened in an October, November time. Mm-hmm. So we decided the borders are open, we will do a festival.
Yes.
Because we'd had this huge community of storytellers from around the world, and we needed to meet physically.
Yeah.
And really, with Mike Wood behind it, but you and I got together and ran round, getting support of the masters. Really, that was important to have the support of Jaffa and Mr. Jaffa, and have the support of the masters for our project.
And Hajj as well was there.
Hajj.
Yeah.
And Hajj, we had a meeting at where was it? At the
Almunia.
And there were 4 masters there, and
5.
and Hajj. And it was the first time anyone had seen Hajj since he'd been ill. So it was quite an emotional day.
Very, very, yeah. And to see them all together, I mean, in one place, for me, as a young practitioner of this art, to see the 5 masters who are left of this 1,000 year of tradition in Marrakech, to see them all together and to sit with them and to talk with them. That was really a moment. It's just really a blissful moment.
And I think it's important, although we're talking masters here.
Yeah.
It sounds like the tradition was always male, but as Mr. Jaffa would has reiterated, that one of the most famous storytellers at the end of the 19th century was a woman. She was the storyteller Sultan. She went around all the and Hajj Hajj, bless his heart, he tried to. He was encouraging women back into the craft, very much so, not just privately but publicly. There's so he took a woman and sat beside her on the square, so people couldn't. If Hajj is sitting next to you, no one can say a word.
Yeah, but you know, John, I mean, reflecting on the experience with Hajj never really made us feel that he was doing something for the first time in the history of storytelling in Morocco.
Oh, no,
like encouraging women. It was a natural thing for him to do. I mean, it's at a certain point in the program with Hajj, we've had more female storytellers than male storytellers, and that was a natural thing. I mean, he never told us, no, this is like we need to encourage more women, or we need to encourage.
No, it just happened naturally. Yeah. But I only brought it up because we keep saying masters, masters, and that was the case in that particular meeting. But and then there's this wonderful point where we've decided we wanted their permission to use the square. We needed their blessing, really, to use the square. And they're jabbering away to each other, and I can't understand a word. And you'll go and have a jabber, and then you come jabber to me, and suddenly say, "The masters have decided we will not have one circle, we will have 5." And I mean, in the end, we just had one circle, but it was the fact that we had their enthusiasm, and I think. The fact that Hajj had bothered to come, he made that effort, not bothered, it was a huge effort for him. So we had, it was, I think it was a done job when Hajj came down to see us. So we planned this fantastic festival.
The best of the best.
The best of the best. And then the borders closed again.
Yeah.
And everyone said, "Are you going to cancel?" And we said, "No, if the borders open, we will do it." And they opened 8 days before the festival, I think. It was only about 8 days, maybe 5.
Not even, not even. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, less than a week.
Yeah. So those that could got plane tickets. So we only ended up with about 20 international tellers at that festival, maybe more.
No, maybe more. No, we've been around 28 international tellers because we've been between Moroccans and internationals. We've been around 43.
Yeah. But for just getting it together and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And we had some real. I mean, there were some people that we couldn't have done it without, Sandra Hall sitting there all night trying to readjust everything. And,
So it was a festival like no other. Like, just to explain to people behind the screen who are watching this, I don't know what year you are watching this, but so this festival, especially the first edition, we've had all potential possibilities to have a disaster of a festival, but miraculously, it went through as a really, really good festival. Not really good, not really great festival. It was more successful than we ever expected.
Well, yes, and we were the first thing to happen, not just in North Africa. I think we were the first thing to happen throughout Africa. And so we were in every newspaper in Africa. We had about 5 television stations. So,
5 major television stations.
So, and so, we couldn't have, you couldn't have planned that. And we marched through the souk, and one of the stallholders said to you, wasn't it? It was like bringing lifeblood back to the veins of the souk.
Yeah.
So, and then so we pulled that one off, and then we thought, well, we'd intended to do it once every 2 years, but we thought, well, we'll do it next year because of the difficulties coming in. And then we had about 60 international tellers come.
So altogether, I mean, I stopped counting at a certain point. I mean,
I think we were near 100 with everyone.
So 87, I know the numbers of the artists because it's 87. 87 altogether, all the artists, 87, and then we've had loads of journalists, we've had loads of organization members. So the family kept growing and growing and growing.
I know when we had the gala dinner, it was just there wasn't any spare places.
Yeah, I mean it's
and you simultaneously were organising this because we had on the second one we had a tent on the square. We didn't have circles. We had continuous storytelling, and we wanted to break the world record for storytelling. So we had over 50 hours.
Over 50 hours
of non-stop storytelling.
And again, I remember. So we were meeting with one lady from the organization team, and she told us that I was with Mike in a coffee shop. She told us, look, you don't have enough security measures. It's really difficult for all the storytellers to really have this challenge. But then I remember, like, Mike and I were sipping our coffee. I was sipping on my coffee, and Mike was drinking his tea. And like we just agreed, let's just do it. Let's just do the Hikayathon, the marathon of Hikaya, the marathon of stories. Let's just do it, and whatever happens, we are ready to deal with it. And that was another crazy decision.
But we were very lucky because it was incredibly secure. Because we had involved in the storytelling festival, we had about five ambassadors. So we were, we were a nightmare for the police as far as them providing security.
But besides that, we've had something that is greater. We forgot to mention that. It's big highlight, and this will never happen. Another first ever in history is a festival in Marrakech. In its second edition, we've got the royal patronage of His Majesty King Mohammed VI.
Incredible.
This is not an easy thing to have. This is not an easy label to have. You need to really be a serious concept to have it. And that was really what made the authorities really believe in us. And I tell you a story that happened to me. I don't know if you know about it, John, but maybe it's first time you will know about it, is when I was like planning the security, the overall security, not for the Hikayathon, overall security, checks with the police, with the authorities in general. So I told them about the Hikayathon, and I was really not sure how they would react about it, because it's like being secure 24/7 for 3 continuous days. It's really a huge plan, and we did not have enough time. But once I told them that idea, they told me, look, we are going to give you enough elements of the police. We'll give you authorities. We'll give you ambulances that will be guarding your tent. But I don't want you to come in. This is how he told me this, the Basha of the region. He told me, Zouhair, I don't want you to come back to me after all I will do for you and tell me that you did not break the world record. So that was really a moment when the authorities also believed in the project and they pushed it forward.
So hopefully now, if we can get the sponsorship, we're going to try. We're going to get it official. We're going for it again this next year in January, but to get it in the Guinness World Book of Records. But we know we've done it. We know we can do it. Yeah. We've done it once.
And one thing, John, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before
you've never been sorry to interrupt.
Storytellers, John. Because we were in the meeting with the coordinator of MENA region for Guinness, and by attempting to break the world record, we are going to include storytelling, oral storytelling, as an independent category in Guinness World Records book.
Fantastic.
That was the first. This was the first.
But yeah, but between after the second edition and between this, it wasn't like nothing happened in 2024 because Marrakech in 2024 has been the Islamic city of culture. Mm-hmm. So you managed to you got your own project, Storytelling Across Borders.
Yeah, Tales Across Borders.
Tales Across Borders.
Yeah, but actually going back to even 2023, the year of the festival. So this is, I mean, we started looking, my team and I, at storytelling in a more like, more professional way. So this is where we started an agency for storytelling. So we've had an arts and culture management agency specializing in storytelling, and I guess this is the first in Africa and Middle East, like the Arab world. I don't think we have something similar. Um, uh, One more thing that happened is we started the school. This is where we officially started the school.
Mm-hmm.
We were not here at this spot before, so we were in different spots. But this is where we started the school with a new system, with a new vision. This is where I was taking the lead. This is where like I could really take the ownership of the school. Yeah, and
I'm going to interrupt you now.
Yeah.
We haven't told people where the spot is. The spot is in Marrakech.
Yeah, we are in
Storytelling Cafe.
I guess people would know already.
I just thought I'd slip that in.
We are in World Storytelling Cafe. Yes, this is the famous wall of World Storytelling Cafe. So yeah, and then like we are moving to 2023. By the end of 2023, we moved to World Storytelling Cafe. So because the school is small, but we made it very rich in terms of the content. Yeah, and it's really successful. We've had really great moments at the school, really fun times. And 2024, we were supposed to have the festival, and this is actually where we finally decided that the festival will not happen once every year, and it's going to happen once every 2 years, because it became too crazy of a festival to organize once every year. So we've done a collaboration with the Ministry of Culture and ISISCO for Marrakech as the capital of culture for the Islamic world, and we've done the project Tales Across Borders. Should I explain a little bit more about the project?
Just briefly.
So briefly, it's stating the fact that storytelling and stories do not believe in like this geographical political borders of nowadays world, but more of cultural zones. And we are trying to connect cultural zones with Morocco, so bringing the ties together and just having loads of fun and loads of discoveries through our stories with our artists.
And of course, and this is where so for the UK bit, I came over with a couple of other storytellers, Seth Townsend, Alistair Daniel, and was there anyone else?
No, so far.
No. It's just
before that you came to, it was kind of a residency.
We did a little thing together that was supposed to be in schools, but anyway, we did it.
Sarah and Sarah Lloyd and Maria Gillen,
and then we came over, but Zouhair sort of throws out these challenges. And he said, I want stories connecting Manchester and Marrakech in Elizabethan times. And I thought, cheers, Zouhair, that's not, that's going to be easy, isn't it? But this I remember we did. But I put together a story which I've now put in my set. But the first time I did it was at your event, and I wrote. You wanted a synopsis that could be written down in Arabic, because it was the audience was 100% Moroccan.
Yeah.
And so I'm rattling on, and I think I told the story pretty well, close to the bare bones that I'd written down. But I was amazed that there was it was an audience of all different ages, and everyone seemed to be following it. And it was a fantastic experience, and it shows, and it really did take storytelling across borders. And that is partly where we're at. Yeah. That is 100% where we're at. And so you've got, how many more have you got to do of that one? You've got two more to go, and then you're going straight from there into next year's
the festival.
So
Busy year for storytelling.
And also we went into, at the last festival, we went into 40 schools.
Yeah.
We got sent storytellers in 40 schools, Moroccan and international storytellers together. Saw thousands, literally thousands of children across Marrakech. And it was, and we are at the moment putting together the plan for the 2025 schools program. And this schools program will be is integral to the festival because it's all right. Well, we know what it's like in Britain. The storytelling appeals to a certain age group. But we're trying to get the enthusiasm of the next generation. And the wonderful, in the school I went into, there was this moment where 1,000 children, or a whole school full of children, felt like 1,000, were following myself and Baba C from Washington DC down through the school, and everyone was going Baba C, Baba C, Baba C, and it was ringing through the whole school. And I think if we can get that kind of bubble going, so that's partly your intent on pulling storytelling, kicking and screaming into the 21st century.
Yes. So storytelling will be, and really the thing about the schools, I'm trying to figure out ways, because you can make noise with a performance, you can make noise with Guinness, but it's really hard to make noise with a school program. And this was really the highlight of the festival. I don't know how to highlight it enough. The school program, we've been able to reach and to actually conduct 104 workshops within a week of work, and every storyteller is engaged, Moroccan and international. So 104 workshops. This is resulting in more than 2,500 kids in public schools. And those schools, some of them did not have any access to any extracurricular activities. And some of them will have never seen an artist in their school school lifetime.
So I meant to make this clear, because public school means something entirely different in UK. Public school are private schools, and but by public school it's the same. It has the same meaning in America as here. It means state schools.
State schools, state schools.
So I just do that for our British.
Okay. I didn't notice actually.
Well, it's just a bonkers bit of our language, isn't it? So we are looking forward to 2025. It's been a privilege being a co-director with your good self.
Looking ahead for 2025 is going to be an amazing festival. Thank you, John, for the interview. Thank you, everyone.